Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore semuanya. Ya, baik, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Kami ucapkan selamat datang kepada Prof. Ferry PhD dari University Edith Cowan Australia. Selamat datang, Prof. Selamat datang juga untuk para Bapak Ibu dosen dan juga rekan-rekan mahasiswa yang sangat saya cintai. Baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sebelumnya saya ucapkan selamat datang. Marilah kita panjatkan puja dan puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala, Tuhan pemilik semesta alam. Karena pada sore hari ini kita masih diizinkan untuk berkumpul di Bangsal Poncowaliko Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya. Acara pada sore hari ini yaitu guest lecture dengan tema Supply Chain for Global Competitive in the New Era yang akan disampaikan oleh Prof. Ferry PhD. Yang saya hormati Prof. Ferry PhD, para Wakil Dekan Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya, para Bapak dan Ibu dosen Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya, dan juga seluruh mahasiswa-mahasiswi Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya. Izinkan saya membacakan susunan acara pada sore hari ini. Yang pertama yaitu pembukaan, lalu yang kedua yaitu sambutan yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Wakil Dekan 1 Bidang Akademik. Yang ketiga adalah acara inti yaitu guest lecture. Yang keempat adalah penyerahan piagam penghargaan dan juga cenderamata. Yang selanjutnya adalah penutup. Baik, sebelum kita memulai acara guest lecture pada sore hari ini, agar acara bisa berjalan dengan lancar, marilah kita membaca doa terlebih dahulu. Berdoa disilakan. Berdoa selesai. Acara yang selanjutnya adalah sambutan, sepatah kata dua kata, yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Wakil Dekan Bidang Akademik, Ibu Dr. Kristiningsih, Magister Manajemen. Disilahkan.
Yang terhormat para wakil dekan, ya, Pak James, yang terhormat Bapak Ibu Kaprodi Seprodi di lingkungan FIWKS, Bapak Ibu dosen FIWKS yang kami cintai, para mahasiswa dan mahasiswa FIWKS yang tercinta. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I respect all of the attendees who have been here in Poncowaliko, especially for the organizer of the international guest lecture with themes Supply Chain for Global Competition in the New Era by Associate Professor Mr. Ferry PhD from Edith Cowan University, Australia. Dear Mr. Ferry, thank you for coming in the University Wijayakusuma Surabaya. Furthermore, thank you for taking the time to come to WKS and give a guest lecture about supply chain management to all of our students. Bapak, Ibu, serta para mahasiswaku sekalian, semua kegiatan kuliah tamu ini sebenarnya dimaksudkan untuk memberikan bekal pengetahuan kepada para mahasiswa mengenai supply chain management. Mungkin ini tidak hanya bekal ini tidak hanya untuk para mahasiswa manajemen saja, tapi juga untuk mahasiswa IP, ekonomi pembangunan, dan juga pada mahasiswa akuntansi dan juga untuk S2 magister akuntansi. Bekal pengetahuan ini berkaitan dengan supply chain management yang dikaitkan dengan kompetisi global yang saat ini terjadi di dalam era baru ini. Kegiatan kuliah tatamo ini sebetulnya merupakan rangkaian dari kegiatan di FEP WKS untuk internasionalisasi. Dalam 1 bulan terakhir kita bisa lihat kemarin kita sudah hadirkan kuliah tamu juga serupa dengan profesor dari University Petronas Malaysia. Kemudian juga kita ada International Exchange Student kemarin dengan mahasiswa Petronas juga. Harapan kami juga nanti dengan Edith College Edith Cowan University ini selain International Guest Lecture juga mungkin kita bisa lakukan International Student Exchange juga. Atau mungkin kita berharap ada joint collaboration untuk riset, Pak. Jadi mungkin itu akan menambahkan keunggulan buat kami di Universitas Wijayakusuma seperti itu. Kegiatan ini mungkin kita harapkan untuk bisa kita semua sharing ilmu dan pengalaman dari kedua institusi yang kita cintai bersama. Harapan kami kegiatan International Guest Lecture ini dapat membawakan manfaat buat para mahasiswa juga pada Bapak Ibu dan khususnya para pengajar-pengajar yang berkaitan dengan topik yang terkait. Kami juga ingin berharap bahwa kegiatan ini juga meningkatkan kualitas dari kinerja perguruan tinggi kita ke arah yang kinerja yang unggul. I really hope that if the education in Indonesia will be having a significant increase as the same as in Australia, of course. Akhir kata, apabila ada kekurangan dalam penyampaian materi ini ataupun dalam kegiatan ini, kami ucapkan mohon maaf yang sebesar-besarnya dan terima kasih untuk mahasiswa dan juga para ibu dosen yang sudah hadir di dalam sini dan tetap semangat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih disampaikan kepada Dr. Christine Ningsih, Sarjana Ekonomi Magister Manajemen. Acara selanjutnya yaitu persembahan tari-tarian yang akan disampaikan oleh mahasiswa Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya. Tarian ini sebagai bentuk penghormatan. Selamat datang Prof di Kampus Budaya Universitas Wijayakusuma Surabaya, di mana ini adalah kampus berbudaya Kemajapahitan. Tari ini berjudul Tari Geleng Room. Tari Geleng Room ini merupakan sebuah judul karya tari baru yang berlatar belakang budaya masyarakat Madura. Dengan segala kecantikannya, kedinamisannya, unik, molek, dengan berpenampilan modis etnis gelang-gelang, bersolek ala cibit merah di dahi, yang selalu menghiasi dirinya sebagai wujud kegairahan hidup dan bekerja keras seorang perempuan Madura, di mana perempuan sebagai penopang kehidupan di suku Madura. Dengan gelang-gelang di kaki dan di tangan yang melangkah, bagai air mengalir di sungai. Segala hambatan akan terkikis dan hanyut. Gemerincing bunyi gelang semakin memacu langkah mengikuti kedinamisan irama kehidupan yang semakin pesat. Kita nikmati, kita saksikan tari Geleng Room. Silakan. Aplaus yang meriah untuk tarian Geleng Room. Ini adalah tarian khas dari Pulau Madura ini, Prof. Ya. Baik, acara selanjutnya yaitu acara yang kita tunggu-tunggu yaitu guest lecture yang akan disampaikan oleh Prof. Feriji, PhD dari Universitas Edith Cowan, Australia. Let me read to astagfirullahaladzim. Saya kok grogi banget ya teman-teman. Beliau ini adalah dosen saya. Can I read your curriculum vitae, Prof? Oke. Beliau adalah dosen saya, jadi saya juga agak-agak duduk gitu, Prof. Yeah. Okay, Prof. Feriji is the Associate Professor in Supply Chain and Logistics Management in the School of Business and Law. Beliau juga seorang Secretary to the Charter Institute Logistics and Transport Western Australia Committee. Lalu beliau juga a part of the Supply Chain and Logistics Association of Australia WA Committee. Beliau ini adalah seorang dosen juga, ya. Lalu penghargaan dan rekognisi beliau sangat banyak sekali. Apabila dibacakan di sini waktunya tidak mencukupi ya teman-teman ya. Lalu penghargaan yang lainnya juga sangat panjang sekali. Izinkan saya tidak membaca secara detail ya, Prof. Baik, untuk itu saya persilahkan untuk Prof. G. Can I call you Prof. G? Oke. Baik, saya persilahkan untuk menyampaikan materi. Terima kasih.
All right. First of all, thank you so much to the Wijaya Kusuma. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for 5STEEN. All right. Thank you so much for 5STEEN in academics, and thank you for Ibu Aisyah and Pak James to bring me here. Right. So before I start, I would like to say I'm so happy to be here in Surabaya. So once again, so I can speak Bahasa Indonesia because I was born in Palembang, right? But the thing is, I grew up in Singapore and Boston, Sydney, and now I'm in Western Australia. So before I start, first thing I would like to say that I'm teaching, my role is teaching and doing research project, and also I'm publishing a lot of papers because my hobby is writing and reading. So you can see I published more than 73 articles in the past 6-7 years. So on average, jadi I can speak Bahasa. Are you okay? Or I can speak Bahasa or mix gado-gado. Means I can speak Indonesia as well as English. But unfortunately, my slides in English, right? But again, if you don't understand, then I can speak in Bahasa Indonesia. So, jadi ladies and gentlemen, saya mempublikasikan kurang lebih 73 artikel dan saya mendapatkan semua untuk biaya dan untuk grants, external grants to do my research project. Jadi I'm actually professor in supply chain and logistic management. In other words, in bahasa Indonesia adalah rantai pasok, right? Rantai pasok. Okay, so can we go to my slide, please? Okay, so this is my details. Then I can give you my WhatsApp number. If you want to reach me, my email address. So I'm teaching at university, what we call Edith Cowan University, in the School of Business and Law. But my area in business, I'm not expert in law, right? So Edith Cowan University, located in Western Australia, is about 3.5 hours from Denpasar to go to Perth. From Jakarta, maybe by aeroplane is 4.5 hours. Next slide. Supply chain management in the global competitiveness, in particular in the new era. Next, please. If you look at this is my profile, so I don't need to explain. So I have been doing a lot of research project in halal supply chain, in the food supply chain, in a different area of the supply chain and logistics. So currently I'm a fellow of Chartered Institute Logistic Transport, the headquarters in United Kingdom, and also the secretary of the Chartered Institute Logistic Transport. This is my service to the logistic and transportation industry, right? And I'm also serving the Supply Chain Logistics Association of Australia as a steering committee. Okay, so this is my profile. And next, please. Okay, this is currently my research project in the past 4-5 years. The first project currently, I'm still doing it now, about digital competencies. Jadi artinya proyek penelitian saya bagaimana saya melakukan penelitian di dalam digitalisasi untuk pengukuran kompetensi di Australia energy sector. Okay, in Australia, in Western Australia, Queensland, New Zealand, New South Wales, Victoria, as well as Canberra or ACT. So currently I'm still doing data collection. The second project, actually I published from that research project in the Q1 journal just recently, been accepted last year actually, but already published. Now this project is about supply chain resilience or supply chain continuity, upskilling people or organization in the small medium enterprises for post-COVID-19. So the project is funded by Australian government, Department of Job, Tourism, Science and Innovation. And the third, fourth project and so forth, you all can see my publication. So when I'm doing research project, first thing I have to do, I have to publish from my research project. Okay, next. Kalau kita bicara mengenai supply chain atau rantai pasok, jadi Bapak dan Ibu dan adik-adik, students, you know supply chain it is a management of all activities that facilitate the fulfillment of a customer order for a manufactured goods. So the two value proposition for the supply chain is, the first one is to satisfy customer needs, to fulfill customer expectations at a reasonable cost. Now this is very important for all you students, especially the researchers. If you want to do research in operation management, supply chain management. Now when I did my PhD at Sydney Uni, so from my bachelor PhD, all my research in operation, production, supply chain, quality management. So pretty much I'm a supply chain guru, right? So I've been teaching for supply chain more than 16,700 students in the past maybe 10 or 12 years, okay? I'm still counting now. Okay, so I've been teaching several courses and programs, not only Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Shanghai, Vietnam, Sydney, Melbourne, Western Australia, Barcelona, United Kingdom, as well as Los Angeles and New York. Now, there are different types of operational activities. The first one is when we talk about supply chain, di dalam rantai pasok, bagaimana kita bisa bekerja sama dengan suppliers. So if you look at supply chain, supplier provide raw materials. They provide component, they provide raw material components, spare part, work in progress materials. So we need to work together with them. Why we need to work together with them? Especially in the global competitiveness in the new era. We learned already in the past 28 months of what's happening during COVID. So many businesses, they realize they only have one supplier. So after COVID, the supply is no longer, because discontinue, maybe bankrupt or maybe collapse. So they realize they don't have any suppliers anymore. So you have to find a new one. So then you have to work together with your suppliers, because supplier can provide raw material to you. They provide good quality. They provide, you know, with the reasonable cost for the raw material spare part component. Okay. Now the second one is purchasing. So in the supply chain, of course we know supply chain for purchasing, procurement. Procurement is the top list job demand in Asia Pacific, especially in Australia. So Australia, if you finish your degree, a lot of students now, they're taking to take the job as a procurement, in procurement or in the purchasing. So if you ask the question in Australia, what is the job entry salary for procurement or supply chain? Jadi kalau Bapak, Ibu, dan adik-adik begitu tamat S1, jadi salary entry untuk sarjana S1 di bidang manajemen atau supply chain, itu start salary-nya kurang lebih 68.000, dikalikan 10.000 rupiah, di dalam 1 tahun berarti bisa dikali berapa? Oke? Ya, itu, ya mungkin dikali karena banyak nol-nolnya ya kan, gitu. Jadi itu first entry ya for bachelor. Kalau Bapak Ibu sudah ambil master, ada yang master degree di sini? Tunjuk tangan. Program master. Semua bachelor ya. Oke. Kalau master degree kurang lebih sekitar 90.000 atau 88.000. Kalau ambil yang PhD yang consultant kurang lebih 110.000 atau 120.000. Oke. So purchasing, procurement is the top 3 high job demand in the supply chain and logistics sector. The third function activity is what we call transportation. You know transportation? In Australia, majority transportation, we use the road, right? We use the truck, rail, kereta, atau truck. Majority, more than 62% transportation in Australia itu menggunakan jalan, ya, truck and rail. And then up to 21% they using sea freight. Kan nama saya Ferry. Jadi ada bule waktu minggu lalu pas ketemu student saya, karena kan di Australia kita mulai taking the new intake. And student said, why your name Ferry? Were you born in the boat? Masa dia tanya karena nama saya Ferry, studentnya malah orang bule tanya, kamu lahirnya di kapal ya? Terus saya bercandain, memang tuh saya lahir di kapal. My mom actually that time in the boat, but you know, and then, you know what I mean? And then, because your name is Ferry, and then that's why I was born in Ferry, that's my parents call me Ferry. No, just joking, okay? Now, transportation through sea freight. So, dari Australia itu kita, karena Australia itu kan negara agriculture ya, grains, beef, any agriculture commodities, particularly we do export to other countries, to more than 58 countries, we use sea freight. So we talk about transportation. We talk about logistics. Next slide, please. If you look at the next slide, after transportation, so we got purchasing, transportation, and inventory management. So everybody knows inventory. Inventory itu adalah persediaan. Ada dua problem di dalam inventory. Yang problem pertama adalah stock out. It means that what happened in Australia, not only Australia, everywhere during COVID. So I'm just giving you the situation in 2020 when start in the COVID-19, when Australia start lockdown. What happened? Consumer panic buying. So the state government said, all right, lockdown, and everybody, consumer want to go to supermarket, they want to get pasta, rice, fresh produce, hand sanitizer, face mask, etc. So within the next few hours, empty shelf. The next day, you can see the same thing because they couldn't get product quickly from suppliers. So a lot of product actually they got from supplier from outside Western Australia. It will take time. What does it mean? Perlu waktu, perlu transport, perlu produksi. Belum lagi pada saat produksi, pabriknya tutup karena karyawannya kena COVID. Jadi di dalam situasi seperti itu kita bicara mengenai supply chain disruption. It means that inventory problem is stock out. It means that empty shelf. Jadi kalau kita ke supermarket tiba-tiba kosong, ya, apa yang kita mau tidak bisa kita dapatkan, terutama untuk face mask or hand sanitizer, etc. Kira-kira berapa bulan? Well, in 2020 it's so difficult to get hand sanitizer and face mask. Even toilet tissue, even for rice, etc. So maybe it will take about like 12 months. We cannot get easily because inventory problem. The second problem with inventory is, in that situation, so many product like company like watches, jewelries, because nobody want to buy during COVID, right? So they have huge stock. So many product like makanan itu kan because short life, yeah, perishable products. Then you know you can just get the product, keep the product and selling product after 5 days. For example, strawberries in Australia or blueberries, you cannot sell after 5 days in the supermarket. Whatever you got there, in day 5, you had to throw it away. Artinya apa? Kalau strawberry, blueberries itu kalau sudah lebih dari 5 hari, nggak bisa dijual. Jadi kan itu merupakan inventory problem. It become waste, yes? And then it become cost. That's the inventory cost. The next one is a managing risk that may disrupt the supply chain. So risk in supply chain, it could be natural disasters. What happened is, what happened earthquake in Turkey, for example, right? What happened bushfire in Australia? Kalau Australia itu sering terjadi juga banjir. Banjirnya kebanyakan di Queensland. Dan begitu banjir, itu benar-benar banjir itu habis semua lahan-lahan petani, ya. Pertanian semua kena. Nah, pada saat sekali banjir, semua producer growernya pisang atau banana located in Queensland. So what happened? Can you see that because of that, 1 kilogram banana, it cost us nearly $11, which is 1 kilo banana sekitar 110.000. Karena apa? We got problems with the supply. We got problem with the natural disaster, the risk, artinya manajemen resiko. Berikutnya ada namanya supply chain performance. Bagaimana kita mengukur performansi daripada rantai pasok? Kalau kita mengukur perusahaan dan produktivitas, mengukur dari segi financially, every year we have to measure the supply chain performance. So in Australia, typically, like multinational corporation, they measure their performance every 3 to 6 months. Okay, so for example, my industry partners measuring, the supply chain performance in terms of the production, in terms of financial performance, marketing performance, and the firm performance, majority between 6 and 12 months. Okay, antara 6 sampai 12 bulan di dalam mengukur performansi daripada rantai pasok. The next is, kalau kita lihat sustainability, tahu ya Bapak Ibu dan adik-adik, everyone knows about sustainability. Everybody knows about triple bottom line: economic, social, environmental impact, environmental, social governance, ESG. Everybody knows about net zero. So a lot of businesses need to think about it. By 2030, we want to reduce the level of carbon dioxide, reduce for the emissions. That's sustainability. So it's a very good research project if you want to do thesis or project for your bachelor project. You can choose about sustainability supply chain, or green supply chain, or green logistics, or halal supply chain. I did a lot of project with University Muhammadiyah Malang project. My former PhD student is now become dean. He got full professor just 3 years ago, Professor Ilyas Masudin. We did project together about halal logistics, right? Halal supply chain in the area of the meat and then food product. So I'm thinking to do a lot more project now with the pharmaceuticals, halal pharmaceutical supply chain, and then halal cosmetics supply chain. Okay, it's good, isn't it? What we're trying to do for the next slide, please. Slide berikutnya. Okay, any question first? You enjoy? Yeah? Apa mesti pakai bahasa Indonesia? Because there's international guest speakers, this is very important in terms of internationalization. Jadi Wakil Dekan tadi sudah bicara, Ibu Wakil Dekan, internationalization is a very good university to connect and collaborate with international partners. Not only for teaching, not only for the student exchange, but also research. Ya, jadi Ibu Wakil Dekan bicara mengenai kita melakukan penelitian bersama. Ya, saya senang sekali bisa melakukan ini. Kita mulai dari saat ini kita bicara mengenai penelitian. Nanti kita bisa mulai start conversation, and then we can thinking about what project we can do for the research, and also we need to promote the publication for this university. And this university can get a lot more papers, and then can get so many guru besar. Ya, guru besar, terutama para dosen. Karena saya suka nulis. 1 bulan itu rata-rata saya nulis 2-3 artikel. Jadi tahun lalu saya bisa produce kurang lebih 24-26 artikel within 12 months. Okay. It's not easy, but it's not, quick to write that. Okay. Do you know logistics? Kalau all of you, if I ask you question, is it the same logistic and supply chain? Logistic is not the same as supply chain, just be careful. Logistic, it is a part of supply chain. Logistic, it is a component of supply chain. Yes? Because supply chain management, it is a philosophy, logistics is a component, it is a part of supply chain. Just remember. Number two, it is the management of flow. So logistics is a flow, product, materials, including transportation. And it is important to satisfy customer needs and expectation in terms of transportation. So if you, say for example in Australia, very popular now for the click and collect. Arti click and collect seperti ini. Bapak Ibu ke website, ada purchase online, dan kalian bisa datang ke toko untuk collect. So you don't need to go to the store. You just go to the loading zone on the back of the store. You park your car, and then someone can go out, and you can use your apps. Your car is arriving. You do reverse parking, and the person going out to bring your parcel or to bring your groceries product. That is what we call click and collect. It's very popular in Australia. Because why? You don't need to go to the store. You don't need to go to every single section. You don't need to go to kasir. Karena sudah tahu dulu shopping apa yang mau, tinggal pilih waktu jam berapa mau click and collect. Nah, yang kedua, yang very popular also in Australia, since after COVID what's happened, a lot of consumer really like now online delivery. Yes? Purchase online, and then I want to get the product actually through delivery in the next 2-3 hours. Okay? It's very popular. And now they introduce no plastic bags. I think Indonesia starting, few months ago, yeah? No plastic bag, and what happens if you do click and collect, they provide box. It's a recycled box. Okay? No plastic bags. And then it's the box. Okay? If you go to supermarket, also the same. Okay? Because it's a sustainability supply chain. It is a green supply chain. The next one is efficiency. Efisiensi itu artinya kalau kita punya logistics, transport, kita maunya barang itu cepat sampai, on time delivery, dan juga untuk transportation kalau bisa more efficient. Then when you calculate about supply chain efficiency, right, through transportation costs. So if you have a problem in terms of congestion, infrastructure, etc., that's a problem in terms of transportation costs and inventory costs, etc. So that is not efficient. The next slide. Okay, so I think, I'm not quite sure if I'm sharing my slide, but you'll be able to watch video presentation. Di Australia itu ada 2 supermarket yang terbesar yang namanya Coles and Woolworths. Coles and Woolworths itu, Coles sendiri punya supermarket kurang lebih 752 ya di Australia. Australia saat ini mempunyai, it has more than 20 million people. The population, I'm talking about population. Woolworths, fresh food people, that's the second largest supermarket in Australia. It has more than 740 stores in Australia. Kayak ibaratnya di sini kayak Hypermart, Walmart, those Coles and Woolworths. So if you have time tonight, click that link. You will see supply chain at Coles and Woolworths. So Woolworths, the symbol is a fresh food people. Artinya kalau dia menjual barang tuh benar-benar fresh. Sampai freshnya kalau dia jual barbecue chicken, dia punya policy, dia masak barbecue chicken, by after 5 hours they have to reduce the price. After 10 hours still there, right? And sometimes they just, the price become 50 cents. The whole barbecue chicken is only 5.000 rupiah. Banyak orang berborong-borong gitu. Padahal masih you can still eat. You can still eat because you cook from morning. But the thing is their policy, they want to sell very quickly. The next day, you cannot sell it. They throw it away, and the next morning they can cook the new one. It's a fresh food people. Okay? So please have a look this one. Ada internet atau wifi nggak? Coba cek yang pertama. YouTube yang pertama. Bisa nggak? Kalau mungkin kayaknya 1 menit atau 2 menit mungkin. Ya, ini Coles ya.
Coles has been part of the Australian retail environment for over 100 years. Starting from a single store on Smith Street in Collingwood in 1914, we now transformed into the nation's #1 supermarket with over 750 supermarkets, 800 liquor stores and 600 convenience stores. With a workforce of over 100,000 nationally, it's quite a big operation, as you can imagine, to move all of these products around the country. We have a distribution centre network of 25 DCs, which we have in every state with the exception of the Northern Territory, which move millions and millions of pallets every year and billions of individual items into store for sales to our customers. As you can imagine, on a business as large as Coles, we rely heavily on our business-to-business or B2B e-commerce. We use this in conjunction with our partners at GS1. We use a whole bunch of their tools, so our trade identification numbers, so all of the barcoding, etc., that you see, not only on the individual items you'll buy at store, but on the master cartons that move through our DCs on pallets, which allow us to efficiently and easily track everything moving through our system. This has real advantages for us at Coles in the fact that it allows us to utilise such things as the electronic data interface, and in particular the advanced shipping notices, ASNs. The real benefit of this is it allows our suppliers to send through to us in advance of all of the shipments they're sending into our DCs, which once the DC are aware of that and is coming in, allows them for fast and efficient receipt into the DC and further put away. With millions and millions of cartons and pallets passing through our network every year, the ability to put these to bed quickly into the DC is really, really key. Another great feature from GS1 is their recall tool. It is a really fast and efficient tool that allows us to send an email through the system directly to all the distribution centres at stores and track where every single item that is under a recall notice is in our network, and it can be pulled as quickly as 30 minutes after we've got notification of a recall or withdrawal notice.
Oke, terima kasih. Mungkin dimatiin dulu. Oke, so kalau kita lihat tadi Coles, mungkin saya akan memberikan ringkasan di dalam bahasa Indonesia. Jadi Matthew, ya, that gentleman. Jadi Matthew itu mengatakan Coles itu punya lebih dari 750 toko, dan juga Coles itu mempunyai industry partner yang namanya GS1, Global Standard, yang located in Victoria di Melbourne. Oke? Jadi GS1 ini dia meng-create yang barcoding ya. Kalau kita beli produk kan ada barcoding, ada scanning, itu untuk tracking inventory, tracking where the product is going. Especially if you have so many products, you can see how it's a million products, you know, in the distribution center. Yeah? So it's not one product. If you have a million stock keeping unit, you need to have the technology that we call barcoding, scanning technology. Yeah, so that is the first video, but second video, because of time, you'll be able to watch the second video at home, right? And then this is good for you to practice and learn and listen. Okay, so it's not difficult to listen. You don't need to really understand every single word. Jadi nggak perlu hampir setiap kata harus ngerti. Yang penting nangkep, ya. Jadi fungsinya apa? Jadi itu penting. Kalau supply chain itu, kalau kita ambil mata kuliah supply chain, operation, quality management, project management, those subject itu lebih ke arah more practical. Jadi kalau saya membawa student, kalau tiap semester kita ada site visit, kemudian ada internship, kemudian student juga diberikan beasiswa dari industri. Karena apa? Saya mempunyai koneksi dengan industry partners. So every time I also bring up a lot of industry speaker to my class. And sometimes I ask my students, like, pasti di sini kan ada himpunan mahasiswa jurusan, ada senat, mahasiswa. Jadi biasanya saya mementor mereka dan mereka mengadakan competition di dalam supply chain. Dan semua untuk award segala macam dapat sponsor dari industri. Yes, it's so good. You work very closely with industry. Okay, very important. You need to start now because when you finish your degree, you build up your confidence and build up your understanding and show that you competent and the company can recruit you. It's very important. Okay. Next slide. Jadi terutama untuk adik-adik, saya kasih cerita sedikit. So when I finish high school, saya biasanya kalau ingat saya selalu juara kelas ya waktu pada saat high school. Jadi saya bilang saya mau dapat beasiswa. Jadi saya ambil Bachelor of Industrial Engineering. I finish and then getting scholarship to do my master. So my GPA for my bachelor is cum laude. Jadi kan mungkin ada tahu yang IPK-nya sudah 3,5, 3,7 segala macam. My GPA for my master is a 4.0. So that's why I really want to do PhD for my scholarship. And also I like teaching. Okay, I like teaching. Like this one is amazing because I've spoken to Ibu Aisyah and Pak James. This building is so wonderful. We don't have this in Australia. Okay, that's why when I just came, it's so wonderful campus. I'm so happy I'm here. Okay, even though I was from morning just coming to different university. I came from Petra, back to Erlangga, back to here. But you know, for Muhammadiyah Surabaya, I said no, I don't have time. Sorry, because it's just like from time to time. But in the previous visit, I just dealing with Muhammadiyah Surabaya in last year in October. But this time is for your unit. Maybe more activities next visit. I will let you know for next visit, and we can meeting for research, and then we can just do a little bit more, you know, working paper together, and then a lot more for the students also. We can do that. Okay. Now, slide ini saya mau bicara. Jadi tadi saya memberikan cerita sedikit mengenai journey sampai saya itu ambil PhD. Saya suka belajar. Okay. Saya saat ini juga sudah lulus 2 postdoc. Setelah S3 itu bukan S lilin ya, suka S teler. No. After S3 you can take postdoc. Postdoc itu bisa 6 bulan, bisa 12 bulan. Rata-rata biasanya 12 bulan. Jadi kalau para dosen yang sudah S3, mungkin Ibu Wakil Dekan kalau mau datang ke Australia, atau Ibu Aisyah, Pak James sudah selesai S3, bisa datang ke Australia, bisa ambil postdoc. Setelah postdoc, naik jenjang dari lektor kepala guru besar. Ibu Wakil Dekan, kenapa? Universitas Wijaya Kusuma, Surabaya, kita perlu guru besar dan kita bisa buka program S3. Itu yang kita harus pikir. Karena kalau tidak ada guru besarnya, sulit untuk membuka S3. Nah, itu persyaratan memang ya dari dikti, isn't it? Even Australia also the same. Ya, kalau banyak yang profesor tapi yang nggak bisa ngajar juga percuma. It's problem. Kita banyak masalah juga di Australia. Profesor banyak, itu mereka jago penelitian betul. Tapi kalau ngomong depan kelas, muridnya nggak ngerti. Tidur, ngantuk, ya. Biasanya saya suka jalan-jalan ya. Kadang kalau saya ngajar di Big Lecture Theatre dari sini ke belakang balik lagi. Kalau ada mahasiswa yang tidur, saya kasih coklat Cadbury. Ya, tahu suka coklat Cadbury nggak? Kalau di sini kayak Bang Bang, tahu nggak? Even my kids say that, Dad, don't forget Bang Bang. They said, how do you know Bang Bang? Maybe they just been here, you know, before COVID, and they know they like Bang Bang. I said, totally different. Cadbury is Cadbury, Bang Bang is Bang Bang. But coklatnya di Australia too sweet. Tahu too sweet? Terlalu manis. Kalau di Australia itu nggak heran banyak orang yang sakit diabetes. Sedikit-sedikit kalau kita beli kue manisnya luar biasa. Kalau beli cappuccino atau hot chocolate, tahu hot chocolate ya? Atau mocha. Kalau Starbucks di situ very sweet. Very sweet. Sometimes I have to put like hot water a little bit because too sweet, right? Now, sekarang kita kembali ke sini, evolution rantai pasok. Rantai pasok itu, supply chain itu lahirnya tahun 1990, kurang lebih 43 tahun. Jadi supply chain pada usulnya, pada dahulunya itu dari tahun 1960, itu fragmentation. Jadi ada purchasing, ada produksi, ada penanganan material, kemudian ada inventory, ada marketing, dan sebagainya. Lihat ya, tahun 1960. Kemudian di tahun 1980, ada namanya material management, ada physical distribution. Jadi logistik itu lahir 1980. Integrated logistics. Ya. Jadi kurang lebih that year, ya, 1980. Okay, next please. So supply chain manufacturing. Okay, so if you look at supply chain manufacturing, since I'm a supply chain scholar, supply chain manufacturing, for example, cereal, you got upstream. Next, click, yeah, and you got cereal. Can you click because there's an animation? It's a focal firm. Next, and upstream, ya, itu ada supplier yang namanya flour company, ada farmer, kemudian oil company, ada forest. Next, click and downstream. Jadi itu first year-nya ada grocery, kemudian ada retail, kemudian ada consumer. Jadi itu supply chain, benar nggak? Ya, dari upstream to downstream. Next, if you look at supply chain, it's all product, all way from the raw material supplier to downstream. So supply chain is not only product, but also information and planning. Next, it's information and planning. If you look at the arrow, it shows information planning. Next, please. Okay, so supply chain is not only for product, students. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, supply chain also for hotel industry. Can you show the next slide? Okay. So service supply chain is, for example, hotel management, like, you know, Santika, etc. You got the upstream. Next, and then you can see temporary labor provider. Next, please. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, next again, and you can see, because normally I like to use my clicker to click on control my slide. Okay, thank you. Keep going, and then information and planning. Right, supply chain not only for product but also services. Next, please. So if you look at again, because usually I would like to show it to you supply chain during COVID. This is very good video, but you can listen. But unfortunately, video is in English. Jadi video ini yang saya bilang, itu supply chain itu mengalami disruption itu di saat COVID-19, di saat pandemic. Itu, can you klik yang nomor 3 ya, tapi cuma sebentar saja saya tunjukin, yang nomor 3 ya. Tapi sebentar saja, tapi nggak lama, nanti saya bilang.
This is In Focus. I'm John Lieberman, joined by a very special guest today. We have Chris Hayden joining us, the president of the SAP Procurement Solutions area. Chris, great to see you again virtually this time.
Yeah, great to see you too, John.
All right, Chris, you told Diginomica the other day, quote, "The reality is procurement is the function that keeps the world going." What is the state of procurement right now?
Yeah, well, look, it's well, number one, it's being very visible to people maybe for the first time, like the average person when they go down to the shopping center and they see empty shelves and empty fridges. What is this and where is my items coming from? That's procurement. I can tell you the procurement professionals, the chief procurement officers that I spoke to in the last couple of weeks, you know, they're all in. Business continuity and just finding new sources of supply and also in the larger picture, adapting to helping, if you like, other industries to get supplies and services where they need to be is actually the new normal for certainly for the last three to 5 weeks.
Yeah, we hear that term new normal
Okay,
now, I think,
stop.
in
Yeah.
all
Thank you.
sorts of different...
Thank you. So, kalau kita lihat video ini, ya, jadi video ini adalah merupakan interview. Jadi Chris itu adalah presidennya daripada SAP. SAP itu artinya supply chain software. Kan ada Oracle, ada SAP, ada IBM. Nah, Chris itu memang pakarnya di dalam procurement. Jadi dia presiden daripada SAP. Jadi kalau tadi lihat video sekilas kan, itu contoh empty shelf itu seperti itu. Kalau kita lihat supermarket begitu kosongnya. Bayangkan saja kalau dalam pandemi kosongnya itu berhari-hari. Ya, tutup langsung. Saya ingat sekali di dalam pandemik, ya, kena 3 kali COVID in the past 21 months. The first COVID I got Delta when I got from Italy. It's really, really not good situation when came back from Italy, stopped over in Singapore. If you look at Changi Airport, it's just like kuburan. Karena tidak ada orang, paling yang ada orang cuma 2, 1. Semua shop close. Jadi saya tuh di situ transit tunggu ya sekitar kurang lebih nunggu 10-11 jam. Semua mau beli kopi, mau beli cappuccino aja nggak ada. Tutup. Nah, saat itu masih oke ya. Nanti sudah pas pulang sampai ke Australia mulai serak-serak segala macam. Tapi saya nggak sesak nafas, nggak demam. Yang saya itu nggak percayanya kok PCR-nya jadi positif. Dia bilang kamu kena COVID, positif katanya. Aku bilang I'm fine, only coughing and then only sneezing, you know sneezing like this, okay? No fever. And then afterward the hospital say, can I check your oxygen level? Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. I can breathe. Aku bilang saya bisa nafas, can breathe. Do you have any blood pressure or something? No. Do you have diabetes history? No. You're very healthy. I am, I said. Ya. Terus abis itu karantina 21 hari. Tiap hari kedua dites sampai hidung saya berdarah. Tes kiri, I said don't use left. No, we have to do both. Left, right, left, right. 21 hari. Di karantina kayak di penjara. Mau keluar, orang tentara bilang, close your door. Sudah mulai swearing. Tahu swearing ya? Dengan kata F. I said to them, please be polite. I know what I need to do. Don't swear. I said, be polite, gentle. I said to them. And then they just quiet. Oh, I'm sorry. They said, gituin. Kalau dia swearing, be polite, gentle. Ibaratnya kita ngomong bahasa Indonesia, sopan dong. Kayak gitu. Gue gituin, walaupun dia tentara. Ya itulah karena COVID, karena dia mungkin sudah capek, maybe, isn't it? Karena dia takut, begitu kita buka pintu sedikit, takutnya nanti bisa kena ke yang lain. So I said to them, that time is still negative already, I have to go home. No, you have to stay. Katanya, sudah negatif. Why I have to stay? Tunggu sampai hari ke-21 baru pulang. Nonsense, saya bilang. Karena hari ke-12 sudah negatif. Kenapa dari hari ke-13 sampai 21 saya harus tunggu? Yang ada apa? Nonton television. Television saya nggak mau dengar berita. I hate watching television. What I do? Ibu Wakil Dekan, saya produce paper di saat saya karantina. Saya tulis paper, saya tulis buku, ngobrol ya. Terus ngobrol juga menteri, sekarang juga nggak jadi menteri lagi, saya nggak perlu kasih tahu ya siapa namanya. Karena dia asal dari Jawa Timur. Kemudian saya ngobrol juga sama anak menteri, semua anak bimbingan saya. Jadi curhat dalam arti baik. Ya, seperti kayak gitu. Tapi saya benar-benar produktif. Saya bikin paper, saya submit paper, wifi-nya bagus. Ya. Terus makanan sudah ada, your food is already there. Taruh depan pintu. Untung nggak ada kucing. Kan Australia nggak ada kucing. No cat. I said to bule ya, kalau mau kucing datang ke Indonesia, you can grab whatever you want. Nggak ada kucing. Jadi dia taruh di situ, nggak ada cockroach, nggak ada kecoa, nggak ada tikus. Jadi dia bilang, instruksinya gini kalau karantina, dia taruh tray depan karantina. Kayak karantina itu tempat mesnya tentara. Tahu ya tempat mesnya tentara. Jadi kalau orang tentara itu kan suka tinggal di situ tuh beberapa hari. Dia taruh situ, dia kasih SMS, ya kasih apps-nya, your food is ready to be collected. Okay, you open, jadi semua keluar semua. Jadi karena nggak buat kan social distance, okay, and you eat. Karena nggak bisa olahraga ya sudah saya aerobiknya di tempat itu karantina. Karena saya suka aerobik, saya suka senam, sehat, tapi nggak bisa berenang karena nggak bisa keluar. Karena saya suka berenang, tiap hari saya selalu berenang. Berenang itu bisa gaya dada, freestyle, breaststroke, itu sampai bolak-balik sampai berapa? Okay. Itu benar-benar sehat, ya. Okay, too much talking. Back to this slide. Terlalu banyak ngomong. Nanti kita selesai sampai jam 7 nih ya. Okay, next. Jadi kalau saya itu untuk Bapak dan Ibu dan juga students, kalau kita melakukan karya penulisan nih, kayak thesis, or dissertation, skripsi, itu ada namanya bab 2 kan? Landasan teori atau studi pustaka. Nah, kalau mempresentasi juga saya membaca artikel. Jadi literatur review kalau supply chain untuk in the global competitiveness, itu ada teman saya Profesor Dolgui and Ivanov yang saat ini profesor di TU Berlin. Dia itu penelitiannya di dalam supply chain atau rantai pasok itu, dia suggest untuk new era, untuk mencapai global competitiveness, kita punya 6 strategi. Strategi yang pertama, perusahaan itu perlu adaptasi. Kenapa perlu adaptasi? Saat ini perusahaan itu totally different dengan kondisi COVID, dengan before COVID. Jadi kan ada before COVID, during COVID, and then after COVID. But you need to adjust and adapt. This is what we call supply chain adaptation. Nah, langkah-langkah adaptasi seperti apa? Mungkin untuk suppliernya, untuk third party transport company-nya beda, perlu semua diadaptasi. Yang kedua, digital. Jadi Bapak Ibu dan adik-adik tahu mengenai digitalization. A lot of research in supply chain digitalization. Even in finance, we got financial literacy, right? And supply chain financing, or supply chain like blockchain, all those things, all the digitalization. No wonder we got ChatGPT. Have you tried ChatGPT? Jadi kalau ngerjain assignment jangan pakai ChatGPT ya. Kan these days dikit-dikit ChatGPT. Kemarin minggu lalu saya marahin student saya, dia ambil S3. Dikit-dikit saya bilang ChatGPT. Salah itu, saya pakar supply chain. Ya. Saya lihat seperti itu. Saya tahu itu bahasa ChatGPT. Ciri khas ChatGPT, Chat AI, dia jelasin, ujung-ujung dia bilang overall, conclusion, in summary, itu kan bahasanya Chat AI, bahasa mesin. Kelemahan dari Chat AI, I can tell you, dia itu tidak tahu kondisi yang lebih real untuk Indonesia seperti apa. Dia tidak tahu kondisi Jawa Timur ini kayak ini. Coba deh kamu cek. Supply chain in East Java, Surabaya, di dekat seperti ini, dia nggak akan, dia kasih tahu yang general. If your answer general, you copy and paste, is not good. Saya tidak mau melihat generasi penerus yang maunya kerjanya instan. Tahu instan nggak? Nggak ulet, kerjanya males, nggak mau kerja keras, nggak mau study hard, study smart, maunya dapat A. No way. You have to work hard and work smart in order to get A. I did my master, I got GPA 4.0. When I have during final exam, I really study hard until I can get. For my master, kalau kita dapat A di sini berapa? Pak James, yang dapat A. 80 apa 85? 81 sudah A ya? Iya, 81 sudah A. Dulu saya waktu di S2, 86 baru A. Kalau 82 itu masih B. Jadi saya itu, waduh, yang penting saya A aja deh. Ada mata kuliah itu susah sekali. Mohon maaf ini yang ngajar accounting ya. Saya kan nggak jago tuh accounting. Ada mata kuliah namanya managerial accounting di S2 saya. Aduh, susah banget. Ini kalau saya final exam dapat 87, pasti saya dapat A. Ya, ternyata aduh ujiannya susah. Saya aja, kalau dia itu pun dapat B, saya nggak bisa dapat 4,0. Saya nggak bisa dapat university medal. Saya itu kadang ambisi. Karena mata kuliah itu, jadi saya dapat A. Ya. Tesis saya juga gitu. Pada saat tesis kan, semua A semua nih. Pada saat sidang hasil, aduh gimana, lihat muka pembimbing saya gimana. Seneng nggak dia? Kalau nggak seneng, pasti saya dapat B. Begitu sebelum pengumuman, pembimbing saya sudah kasih senyum. Saya sudah tahu, pasti A nih. Begitu suruh masuk ke ruangan, duduk. Ya duduk, kan. Senyum dulu sebelum di pengumuman. Akhirnya, pembimbing saya baru ngomong, ya, ini hasil perbaikan, harus diperbaikin. Baru dibicarakan hasil. Kan seperti itu, kan sama. Sidang untuk S2. Terutama untuk adik-adik juga sidang skripsi juga harus seperti itu. Nah, kalau adik-adik punya akademiknya merit bagus, kalau punya keinginan untuk rindu mau ambil S2, dapat coba apply beasiswa. Apply scholarship. Your parent is so proud if you get scholarship. Yes, one thing, if you get scholarship, then you go back to Indonesia and develop Indonesia. Like me, okay? So I still remember Indonesia, even though saya bukan kelahir orang Surabaya. Saya kelahiran Palembang, empek-empek, gemplang, kerupuk. Tapi saya masih cinta Surabaya. Yes? Now, the third preparedness. Apa preparedness? Siap, preparedness, ya. The next one, recovery. Yang kelima itu ripple effect karena dalam kondisi resiko, uncertainty, dan yang keenam adalah sustainability, artinya kepedulian dalam lingkungan, economic, social, impact. Okay, next slide. Okay, mungkin saya akan kembali next lagi. Saya sudah bicara mengenai digitalization. Ini juga literature review, supply chain. Jadi kalau melakukan penelitian juga perlu baca artikel. Next. Ini yang saya akan mau berikutnya lagi. Saya akan kasih tahu untuk strateginya untuk di global competitiveness. So the first, tadi Chris yang dari presidennya SAP kan dia bilang business continuity. Artinya apa business continuity? Jadi kalau kita melakukan bisnis maupun di dalam kondisi seperti ini, kita tetap keep going. Continuity, planningnya apa? Kalau kita belajar strategi, ada jangka pendek, jangka menengah, jangka panjang. This is what we talk about continuity planning. So, the business supply chain in the era like global competitiveness, supply chain continuity planning. Number 2, apa itu lean thinking? Lean thinking itu berdasarkan dari Toyota Production System. Jadi kalau di Jepang kan dia memproduksi Toyota. Dia itu menemukan salah satu konsep apa yang dinamakan lean. Lean is to reduce cost, to reduce inventory, to reduce defective rates. Jadi kalau kita produksi barang, ada barang itu cacat, bagaimana kita mempunyai attitude untuk mengurangi barang cacat di dalam produksi. Itu lean thinking, to reduce waste, to reduce defective rates, to reduce inventory costs, okay? To reduce production cost, for example. And yang ketiga itu apa yang dinamakan agility. Apa itu agility? Agility itu artinya bagaimana kita merespon secara cepat kepada perubahan daripada pelanggan atau customers is the agility. Quick
Sorry, bro.
respond to any changes.
Time.
Yeah, okay. Mungkin 2 minutes ya?
2 minutes, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yang keempat, inventory saya sudah bicara. Kemudian invest more di dalam digital atau teknologi. Jadi kita perlu invest untuk teknologi. Kemudian penting juga untuk adik-adik ya, perlu upskill. Upskill itu apa? Ya perlu belajar, perlu juga mengembangkan training. Jadi kalau mengambil program S1 atau S2 itu perlu upskill yourself. Kemudian manajemen risiko perlu ada di review atau perlu diimplementasikan. Ya, next please. Jadi ini saya kalau Bapak Ibu dan juga adik-adik students di dalam untuk supply chain in the global competitiveness, especially after pandemic, you be able to see this framework. Jadi kalau kita lihat sebelah kiri, itu value, ada nilai, dimension yang dilihat untuk orang, society, bisnis, organisasi, atau pabrik. Dan juga ada challenge, yang sebelah yang warna hijau, itu artinya challenges. Challenges-nya itu kalau kita menerapkan teknologi, company itu ready atau tidak. Itu namanya technology readiness. Jadi spend berapa juta dolar, whatever, ternyata company kalau nggak ready karena sumber daya manusia belum bisa dilatih, no training, whatever, they not ready. So that's the technology readiness. The second challenge is security. Security in Australia, we experience so many problems because so many companies, they got hijacked, scams. So, for example, one company, like Yes Optus, like here seperti contoh kayak Telkomsel. Jadi majority banyak customernya dari Yes Optus itu kena hijack karena data security. You with me? So just be careful when you just share doing payment, internet banking, especially in the public space. They don't have any proper information security. It's a very, very risky because no wonder, that's why if I'm using internet banking or e-payment, I never use Wi-Fi from public library or shopping center Wi-Fi. Does make sense? Better using your own data. Never use Wi-Fi. Normally I turn off that Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, then I use my data. Okay? I'm not information security researcher, but a lot of researchers say that in the paper. Standards and data, change management, culture, kita bicara mengenai budaya, itu challenges. Nah, di tengah itu kita bicara mengenai skill dan juga ada acceleration, sustainable production. Jadi ada smart innovation engineering, smart process, etc. So yang ke tengah itu adalah yang kita namakan value mechanism atau proses di dalam kita menangani challenges atau value yang sebelah kiri untuk siapa. Itu adalah creating value from convergent technology. So, give me a few seconds. So if you want to ask questions, I'm more than happy taking questions. So first of all, I would like to say thank you so much. Say hello to Dean, ya, especially untuk Bapak Ibu dosen di sini, ya, sukses untuk karirnya, biar cepat guru besar, ada yang studi lanjut, yang selesai S2, biar cepat S2 selesai, yang S3, biar cepat S3, tahun 2025 selesai, atau 2024 selesai ya kali ya. Biar cepat guru besar, begitu sudah lektor, langsung lektor kepala. Nggak usah nunggu-nunggu lagi. Kasihan mahasiswanya, kalau mau buka S3, cepat buka S3. Sayang ini belum ada rektornya, kalau ada rektornya kasih salam. Oke, untuk student, pesan saya, jangan jadi mahasiswa abadi. Artinya apa? Nggak tamat-tamat. Jadi bikin masalah saja. Problem maker. Kayak di Australia juga sama, everywhere the same. For you please complete your degree on time, smart, working hard. Artinya working hard itu apa? Jangan lelet, ya. Kalau disuruh cepet, hurry up. Oke? Nih. Ya. Brain. And then it's very important. And also, you need to be proactive. Seeking opportunities like me. If there's a scholarship in front of you, take it, chase that. Kejar itu. Kalau nggak kejar, orang lain ambil. Kayak bola aja kayak gitu. Suka main basketball. Saya nggak bisa main basketball, unfortunately. Okay, my two boys actually at home, they can play basketball. You got opportunity, you got ball there, and take it. Apply. If you get a better job, do it. And then move up to the next chapter, career. Okay? And one thing is, you have to watch yourself in terms of your attitude, behavior, and leadership. Karena banyak sekali orang pandai, tetapi perilaku dan sifatnya itu menjadi problem di dalam perusahaan. Ada. Itu nggak gampang loh. Jadi perusahaan yang saya kemarin industry partner bilang, mendingan saya rekrut student yang biasa saja, tetapi mempunyai sifat dan perilaku yang baik. Seperti itu. Tapi ada orang yang kita maunya dua-dua. Pandai, cerdas, dan juga punya sifat yang baik. Ya. It takes time if you want to achieve that goal. Nothing easy. Not easy to do it, but you must do it, and you need to move forward. Never give up. The last thing. Apa never give up? Ibaratnya kayak lomba, kalau kalah ya udah nggak apa-apa. Nanti do better the next opportunity. Kalau saya dapat juara 3 nggak apa-apa, no problem. Never give up. Terutama Bapak Ibu dosen, kalau papernya di reject, no problem, never give up. Get opportunity to submit to the new journal. Saya selalu ngomong itu para dosen, mahasiswa S3 saya yang papernya ditolak untuk publikasi. Never give up. Sit down with me. Work together. Apa yang perlu diperbaiki? Kita submit ke Better Journal. Kalau kita bisa dapat tembus Q1, Q2, dia belajar, do it again. Okay? So, thank you so much once again. So, I would like to say all the best. Sukses selalu untuk universitas yang kita namakan Wijaya Kusuma Surabaya. Okay? Sukses selalu. Dan juga saya berikan ke moderator. Okay? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Maybe two questions, Prof? Two questions?
Oh, question here.
Okay. Maybe any question? Okay. Yes, please. In Indonesia boleh, in English juga boleh. Yes, please. Okay. Mic-nya, Mas.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, Prof. Jeffrey. Let me introduce myself. My name is Linda. I'm from Management Study Program 2021. Okay, in third slide, you say supply chain management part 1 to achieve customer satisfaction reasonable cost. Okay, how about if that's in out of the way from the city, as usually often experience delay in logistic delivery. It is effective to charge a more expensive price for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very good questions. Supply chain, the value proposition is to make customer happy, of course, to satisfy customer expectation, to fulfill their need, and also at reasonable cost. You're right. The only problem before that, if you have experienced, say for example, the delivery is delayed, right? So one thing actually delivery delay does not mean you lost your customers. The first step for you is you have to fix it, and for the next opportunity, continuous improvement. It means that you need to find out what causes this delay. Is that because transportation? Is that because the driver? Is that because the product is not available? Is that because anything? Once you determine the causes, then you have to fix for the next opportunity if you, especially you're dealing the same customer. So, you know, you need to look at what agreement between you and then your major customers. So typically, if something only once, no problem, but the next, you can fix it, the problem, and you're not doing it again for the delay. Does make sense? So that is particular is a win-win, and customer can see the change, and then you can see that you can manage your supply chain costs properly. Especially when we talk about transportation costs, inventory costs, etc. Yeah, you with me? Wonderful, your English is fantastic, it's very good, amazing. Well done. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dan Aditya from management. I want to ask about how to develop research, because in supply chain management is industry management. That is, I study business process management and study too in about Michael Porter, core competence, yes. Just in time, like that, total quality management. I difficult to mix from business process and the theory, because business process a lot of coding and IT, because it is very difficult to introduce to my student how to coding at especially use not tidak software yang tidak biasa digunakan sehari-hari. Nah ini kesulitan untuk mengajarkan supply chain yang lebih bagus, yang sesuai dengan industri yang saat ini dipergunakan. Itu juga jadi salah satu kendala. Terus saya juga ketika ada zaman kampus merdeka, ketika mahasiswa itu pakai bahasa Indonesia, dibebaskan untuk ngambil mata kuliah informatika, coding. Nah, saya juga kadang-kadang nggak mengizinkan, karena ketika mereka belajar yang biasa aja, belajar coding, itu hasilnya kayak apa ya kira-kira? Apa bikin emosi dosennya aja atau bagaimana? Nah, itu bagaimana cara untuk mengkombinasikan supaya pembelajarannya bisa berhasil. Terima kasih.
Excellent. So thank you so much, Pak. So what the question is, coding is not that easy. That's one thing. Number two, what I suggest ya untuk Bapak, untuk para dosen, especially when we teach supply chain, process, activities, function. First thing, before we do any coding, we need to do proper process mapping, right? In a different context. Process mapping different context, meaning you need to provide several case studies. Because coding for manufacturing, for business process model, totally different. Coding for electronic, coding for mining, coding for agriculture, totally different. So unfortunately, for the subject what you're teaching there, unfortunately we cannot cover the whole thing. The basic principle you need to tell and teach for the student, pretty much you give step in a general way, and then the next process is giving a simple case, and once they have solid understanding, then they be able to digest and implement in a different way. The next phase is become their mini project for the student. If you found out different scenario or different case. But make sure we have in the proper steps, proper understanding from the beginning. Because if you just give this to student, well, especially for student now, right? So you have to be creative and innovative. According to World Economic Forum, the skills, capabilities, competencies after COVID-19, I can tell you, if you work in the big or large companies or multinational corporations, 3 skills you have to do. You have to understand what they need. The first one, problem solving. 2, critical thinking, analytical thinking. 3, creative and including innovative. This yang Bapak tadi bicara mengenai coding, it relates to the problem solving plus innovative thinking. I'm sure in this room we have amazing generation like you all. The only thing you need to focus, creative. Whatever you do, any creative, the process is for you is to understand. That's why you have to come to the lecture, you have to come to the classroom, you join for the Zoom meeting, you join for the online, in the past 2 years, last 2 years. But if you never come to the classes, you never read, you never look at the slide, no wonder if the lecturer said, where are you? Di mana kamu? Kok jarang kelihatan? Saya aja sampai ingat kalau saya ngajar sampai 100 orang apa 150. Saya tahu kalau student saya itu miss sampai 3 kali, 4 kali saya ingat. Kenapa? The way I'm teaching usually, I need to ask my student to write their name. Otherwise I cannot remember. Sudah tua ya. So, and then number 2, I also need to walk around and see. Okay? Typically, when student on campus like this face-to-face, especially if you look at my slide, don't look at your laptop or mobile phone or tablet. You need to concentrate my slide. You only can have mungkin catatan atau notepad, karena kan mau catat kan. Or maybe you can type, but the only type, lihat Twitter lah, lihat Facebook lah, WhatsApp web lah, gossip lah. So many distracted. Kapan fokusnya? Nanti kalau assignment-nya dikasih yang susah-susah, komplain. Nanti kalau dapat D, nggak happy sama dosennya. You with me? It's very important. That's why when I'm teaching in the classroom, especially in the big lecture theater, you can't have mobile phone. Normally I provide the big box here, big box. Or otherwise you can put it in your bag. You only have notepad, tulis, atau books. Ada buku tulis ya? Saya tuh paling suka tulis. Tulisan saya bagus kok, paling rapi. Student saya yang ngomong sih, bukan saya sombong. I like Ferry G, very good, handwriting is so good. Dia bilang gitu. Saya nggak sombong, student saya selalu banyak ngomong gitu, orang-orang bule. Oke, ya Bapak ya. Jadi kita pakai step by step, ya. Mungkin mau satu lagi Bu?
I'm sorry, Prof. The time is up.
Mohon maaf ya.
Oh, sorry.
Iya, karena katanya mau time is up. Karena gini, kalau nanti Anda mau tanya, saya kan ada WhatsApp itu. Boleh tanya, mungkin tanya sama dosen-dosen yang bagus nih. Tanya. WA-nya Ferry G apa? Boleh tanya, silakan. Saya masih ada di Surabaya sampai Sabtu pagi. Okay? Jadi sudah selesai nih. Sebelum saya itu saya bilang sukses ya sekali lagi. Mungkin saya juga mohon pamit kalau saya enggak ini. Mungkin saya akan kembali lagi ke Indonesia atau ke Jakarta. Mungkin saya mampir ke Surabaya. The next my visit itu mungkin antara Jakarta atau Semarang atau Jogja. Ya, jadi di the next trip itu ini. Jadi untuk tahap ini baru Surabaya, nanti the next trip visit might be Jakarta, Semarang atau Jogja. Dari Jogja, dari mana yang dekat ke Surabaya? Mungkin kasih tahu saya, mungkin ini baru nanti saya mampir lagi ke universitas. Terima kasih.
Oke, thank you. Thank you, Prof. Oke, give applause for Prof. Ji. Oke, the next session is penyerahan piagam penghargaan yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Wakil Dekan 1, Dr. Kristiningsih. Silakan menempati posisi. Silakan Prof untuk menempati posisi. Boleh di atas. Selanjutnya, mohon maaf Prof, masih stay di situ. Selanjutnya penyerahan cenderamata yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Wakil Dekan 2, Ibu Siti Asiah, disilakan. Cenderamata ini adalah batik Gringsing Cinecek. Jadi ini adalah hasil karya dari Ketua Yayasan Wijaya Kusuma Surabaya yang merupakan pakaian para bangsawan kerajaan Majapahit. Oke, thank you, Prof. Foto bersama. Sesi selanjutnya adalah foto bersama. Silakan menempati posisi. Pamer dulu, boleh, Prof. Ini adalah pakaian kebangsaan untuk. Oke. You look so cute, Prof. Oke. Insyaallah. Thank you. Untuk mahasiswa disilakan pose Bapak Ibu dosen dulu, monggo silakan untuk ke depan untuk diambil gambar, silakan. Lalu mahasiswa juga posisi foto bersama.
Kaulah mata air kolaborasi. Mau kau pula oasenya integrasi. Curamnya tebing kau turuni, rengkuh inisiatif. Gelar kerja keras, hulu hilirnya kemampuan.
Di sini aja. Nih. Monggo Bapak Ibu dosen menempati posisi yang menghadap candi. Lalu mahasiswa posisi merapat ya, silakan untuk ambil posisi berdiri.
Mampu andalah pengukir kesempatan. Meski harus mendaki tingginya bukit belulang. Pelita malang-malang Singawang lindungi padang. dambaan cita, bahagia setiap insan. Rindu memang, tapi tak mudah memeluknya. Bisakah mendekap?
Baik, dengan berakhirnya sesi foto bersama, berakhir pula acara guest lecture pada sore hari ini. Semoga memberikan manfaat bagi kita semua. Selamat sore semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.